So, I want to take a look at this video from Canada and this recording of Schwab being mentioned. So let's watch.
Question et commentaire, questions and comments. The Honourable Member for Oshawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to my colleague's speech. I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad and the video is really bad as well. And I apologize. I don't know if the member. Okay, let's try again. The honourable member for Timmins James Bay.
Mr. Speaker, that member was promoting open disinformation. That's not debate. We have to call out disinformation.
We'll get into debate again. The honourable member, questions and comments. The honourable member for Lambton, Kent, Middlesex.
Now, first and foremost, this is just my opinion of these people, who are all a bunch of damn amateurs. This is the worst attempt at bullshitting I have ever seen from anyone involved in the political apparatus. I expect much better lying from my politicians in this shit show. My word, where to start? Watch the video again. Look at this guy's reaction the second that German bastard's name is mentioned. That son of a bitch's face changes instantly. So you heard that clear as day, you cheap-ass lying sack of shit. Then he pulls that guy over, the audio gets played and cut off. Then he proclaims at the end, oh, the member was asking a really good question there and the audio is really bad. How the fuck can you hear it then if the audio is really bad? And if it's such a good question, would you mind answering it? And also, can I point this out? The question from the guy came at the very end of that recording, right before it gets cut off for obvious fucking reasons. So you heard that entire recording just fine. Your damn face at the start shows that. And the reaction in the subsequent footage looks like the speaker is going, don't cut it off yet, it's too obvious. Then they let it roll to the point where it gets too hot and then they cut it off. Then we get that twat on the left-hand side. Oh, that person is spreading misinformation. Oh, I'm sorry, dipshit. I seem to be confused between you labeling it misinformation, but the speaker saying it was a good question. Would you mind telling us which one it is then, you asshole? Evidently, everyone can hear the audio fucking peachy. And after not addressing anything said about the guy's question, despite saying it was a good question, but also not being able to hear it somehow. Who the fuck lies this badly? If that isn't the most clear-cut case of transparent bullshittery of what misinformation is, then I don't know what to tell you. The deer in the headlights look, a level of lying so brazenly piss-poor it'll make a lie detector catch fire. By the way, may I just point out the obvious dystopianism of this exchange, Canadians? You do realize you don't have elected representatives. You don't live in a democracy. Those people in that chamber do not give a fuck about Canada. That entire apparatus is performative theater. So this is going to sound a bit conspiratorial on my end, but if you look at Hollywood movie plots, you can enjoy the absurdity of the movies as just that, entertainment, with far-fetched plots that would never fly in the real world. Sort of gives you a ceiling of reality's expectations, at least when compared to the most popular fiction. It ingrains into you this idea of, oh well, that could never happen in the real world. What we're seeing right now unraveling in the real world looks to be too insane for even fiction, which might go a better way of explaining why so many people just dismiss this as something too insane. It's purely speculation on my part, but I'd be lying if I said it hasn't been part of my thought process for at least a while now anyway. And Canada's always had this reputation for competent governance, while America was the one with the big money, corruption, etc., etc. That reputation has now been thoroughly shattered into the winds. That is gone. We are in new waters now. Which brings us to Trudeau. And one of the more amusing problems he has is his abysmal transparent imagery. There's a certain inauthenticity about him. Not just him, but around the entire situation. When you look at the previous dictators of the last century, you've got, say, Castro, Stalin, Hitler, all of which are infamously iconic. They've got this battling historical significance. With Castro, it's going up against Batista. With Stalin, it's the Bolsheviks overthrowing the Russian Tsar. With Hitler, it's restoring a sense of pride to the German people after being humiliated by the Allies post the First World War. There's this overarching power structure that they're trying to topple. There's a certain sense of romanticism about it, for their own nefarious purposes, as it turns out, but it's a necessary element of the story. It gives a sense of urgency and gravitas. And all of them have strong imagery attached to them. With Castro, you've got the beard, the military garb with the cigar. Stalin has the burly mustache, the hammer and the sickle, the Red Army. Hitler has the charismatic oratory prowess, the domineering architecture of the Third Reich. Not to mention they've all seen conflict. Castro, the leader of the revolution. Hitler served in the war. Stalin used to be a bank robber. Trudeau, on the other hand, has none of that. His power lacks the air of legitimacy. The pompadour hair, his soft face, his voice and demeanor is weak and submissive. He came from money. He only got this far because of his father's accomplishments. Without his name, no one would know or give a fuck what he has to say about anything. He has faced no conflict at all. He is known the world over for being this appeasing little bitch who contorts himself like a fucking pretzel, desperately trying not to offend anything with a pulse. That is not the demeanor of a strong, assertive male. That's the demeanor of a limp-wristed cuck. Think about this. Who was more masculine, him or Hillary Clinton? Yeah, exactly. Congrats, Trudy. You are more feminine than the woman who went around claiming her having a vagina means she deserves a presidency. Well done. It's openly obvious. He sucks off that German bellend to keep his current position, so he's just a puppet. He doesn't even get to make his own decisions. He's not even his own man. He's in charge of nothing. It's why this whole dictator shtick looks like a bad act. Child's play, baby's first steps trying to slip into shoes he will never be able to fill. Because I can picture, say, Stalin, Hitler, and Castro playing cards or something, and Trudeau as this waddling little baby trying to sit at the big boys' table, saying, "Oh, I'm a dictator too." And one of them looking at him going, "Yeah? What did you do?" "Oh, I was voted in and then some truckers defied me because they didn't like me saying they should take medicine, so I enacted emergency powers." Which looks pathetically weak compared to the shit they did. You can picture them saying, "Fuck off, kid," and just softly kicking him landing on his rear end before he goes scamping off, crying with this desperate wail clutching his little ass. Because that's who he is. He's not masculine. He's not assertive. He's just a cowardly little bitch. He said they were a fringe minority. Now he needs to enact emergency wartime fucking powers to deal with this? The aura around previous dictators have this air of fear and intimidation about them. The aura surrounding Trudeau invites mockery and ridicule. He looks fucking weak and stupid. And I found that position quite curious because he doesn't really fit the role. I can't quite say if the truckers were unexpected and now it's putting Trudeau in a place where the scheming is very obvious and out of place, or if it's to show that if Trudeau can handle it because he's so dainty and feminine, it's a blueprint for other nations to follow. I don't really know. Could be both. Still, fuck Trudeau, spineless little pissant. And that's all for today. Until next time.